Welcome to Living with Purpose, another episode. Today, we are actually going to speak to somebody that is just an extraordinary individual. We're going to talk to Dr. Jitendra Sharma, who has single-handedly taken a barren piece of land and created a MedTech manufacturing zone where he now has over 165 companies located here. And they manufacture everything from a glove to an MRI machine. He started off with $125, and now he has an annual turnover of $1 billion. One of the largest medtech manufacturing zone in India and almost in the world. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Sharma.
Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste. So I want to start off with one question. Give us your one golden nugget, a piece of wisdom that you live by that you can share with our audience.
I think there is one principle that we all follow, backed by a philosophy. The principle is we don't say no. And we have realized that when we stop saying no, we are forced to innovate. We are forced to find a way out. And the principle is we all are products of our teachers. Even if you look at a pilot who is flying an aeroplane against the gravity, the first time he or she would have got to know what gravity is must have been by teacher.
Yeah.
Look at chartered accountant, their numerics would have come from a teacher. And therefore, all of us in this zone, we would like to convert the teachings of our teachers who have given us the skill sets to execute good for the world around by stop saying no. And that's our golden nugget.
That is absolutely awesome that you live by a principle of don't say no, take a risk, take a chance. And at the end of the day, even if it takes you a little longer, you will find success.
Even if you fail.
Even if you fail, it's okay.
It's okay. No teaches us the failure. No teaches us the success. No teaches us everything. So avoid saying no gives you the opportunity to succeed or fail. In either way, you are the gainer.
That is correct. A no closes a door. A yes opens you to several possibilities. So let me ask you about living with purpose. How are you showing up with purpose in your life?
I'm showing up just by trying to be consistent. As you have mentioned earlier, purpose is a very emotionally glamorous commodity. We all want to agree that we live with purpose. It gives us a lot of emotional cushion to be able to tell ourselves, yes, we have a purpose. Yeah. But the fact is, if purpose is not consistent, you are not showing up every day, you can't be purposeful.
Yeah.
So you flew thousands of miles to be here because you believe in purpose. You are showing up with your purpose in this very show. You are being consistent. We have to learn and fetch this consistency for ourselves.
So give an example of how you have shown up with purpose. You had this amazing career starting from nothing, being in Geneva at the WHO, being in the healthcare ministry, and now the chief. Everybody calls him the chief of the MedTech zone. How have you shown up with purpose?
By being true to it and by being consistent with it. By being true to it, and I'll give you a very factual example. We are producers of large number of medical goods, as you have mentioned, from a mask to an MRI machine, ventilator to pulse oximeter, RT-PCR kit to ventilator, everything. But we don't produce all brands. We can only produce, say, 100, 200, 300 brands, and there are thousands of brands in the world. So there are people who come to us and say, can we trade their brand for them? Now, manufacturing medical products and helping country produce it is our purpose. But these business interests try to sometimes lure us by converting us from producer to a trader. And they are ready to give higher margins. Can you trade X brand for us and sell it as if you have produced it? And we say no. It hurts us financially, but helps us, protects us, strengthens us morally. And that's how we stay true to purpose. By staying consistent with purpose, I can tell you the example that in COVID, When the entire city stopped, country stopped, nation stopped, region stopped, world literally stopped, we as an essential service zone didn't stop for 30 minutes. People showed up every morning. They showed up every morning, they went back home, they lived in a separate room, they didn't meet their family members. Food would be given to them at the doorstep of their room in their own home. They ate that food because they were getting exposed to a lot of viral risks while working every day in thousands. And they didn't want their family members to get exposed to the risk they are taking home. But they stood consistent. So my point is, any purpose, if you stand true to it and you stand consistent with it, generally takes you forward by and large.
The biggest example I've actually seen of consistency, and I'll kind of add one more thing to consistency, is to show up with compassion. And Dr. Sharma has actually shown that across the board of how he shows up with compassion on a regular basis, where you are actually putting not just your concerns at the forefront, but you're actually putting the concerns of the well-being of the society at large at the forefront. And if you do that, you automatically live a life of purpose, and that becomes consistent. I want to end with you sharing just one example of what was the toughest thing you had to overcome in building the Andhra Pradesh MedTech zone.
There would be many tough things.
Yes.
Some would be transient and some would be systemic. And I think one of the most systemic things that all of us would have to overcome is the layers of bureaucracy in any country. Not bureaucracy just in designation, but bureaucracy in our own way of thinking, in our way of judgment, in our own execution. That's a systemic thing. But in terms of transient nature of things, I think we have to overcome our level of sacrifice, because no purpose comes without sacrifice.
Yeah.
As you being an academic and industry leader, a thinker, you would have seen enough in life, yourself and people around you, people whom you have trained, taught, worked with, sacrificing. No purpose can be fulfilled without sacrifices. Whether it's personal, professional, whether it is leaving Geneva, coming to Delhi, whether it is leaving Delhi, coming to a barren land in Vizag, whether it is salaries of thousands and thousands of scientists and engineers who work here on government scales, which are different than industry scales. Every one of us are sacrificing. Sometimes we make that sacrifice for an evident cause that fulfills ourselves in a selfish way. Sometimes we make those sacrifices because it fulfills our cause in a societal way. And I think we keep getting new layers and thresholds of that sacrifice. Overcoming them is generally the toughest emotional part. The toughest transient thing that I encounter is our own threshold that we have set for ourselves in self-sacrifice. Because from self-sacrifice comes success and societal success. So that's something that we have to constantly improve upon in our lives.
Dr. Sharma, thank you so very much for your pearls of wisdom that you've given us. Thank you all very much for another episode of Living with Purpose. Again, remember, purpose is that renewable source of energy that continues to drive humanity forward. For the work that Dr. Sharma is doing, check out Andhra Pradesh MedTech Zone. It is one of the most fascinating stories that you will hear. There's a book here that says Made in Lockdown. Go check it out. Thank you very much. And again, tune in to another episode of Living with Purpose and join us on the www.purpose.mindset.org and share how you are living a life with purpose.
Does your company have a story to tell about purpose? Become a part of our book series. Visit onegoldennugget.com/living with purpose.